This is VOA News. I'm David Byrd. President Donald Trump is claiming success in a U.S. negotiated ceasefire between Turkey and Syrian Kurds. We get details on the president's reaction from Sagar Meghani at the White House.
The president says it's holding nicely, and Turkey's assuring him it's permanent.
This was an outcome created by us, the United States, and nobody else.
Says he'll lift sanctions on Turkey as a result, while warning they will come back if the Turks don't behave. The president says it's now time for somebody else to fight over what he calls the Mideast bloodstained sand.
And now we're getting out.
Though some U.S. troops will stay to guard eastern Syrian oil fields, lawmakers from both parties are criticizing the pullout, which they say abandons the Kurds, who fought with the U.S. against Islamic State militants. Democrat Eliot Engel fears the fighters will stage a comeback.
It's safe to say ISIS is celebrating President Trump's foreign policy right now.
Sagar Meghani at the White House.
A House of Representatives impeachment hearing into President Donald Trump ended late Wednesday after around 24 pro-Trump Republicans stormed into a closed-door session and demanded that the majority Democrats hold public hearings and release transcripts of testimony. The hearing was suspended when the Republicans, who were not authorized to be in the so-called skiff, burst into the hearing room Wednesday morning. After a delay of 5 hours, Laura Cooper, a Pentagon official in charge of Ukraine and Russia matters, completed her testimony. Democrats on the committees conducting the inquiry say that Republican committee members have full access to the meetings and equal time to ask questions. They have also said that they plan to release full transcripts of all testimony. The impeachment inquiry focuses on whether President Trump withheld millions of dollars of military aid from Ukraine in an attempt to get information on his political rivals. This is VOA News. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Service is canceling six-figure fines against illegal immigrants who have taken refuge in churches across the United States. Under a 1996 law, migrants who failed to heed deportation orders could be fined between $300,000 and $500,000. As part of his drive to crack down on illegal immigration, President Trump signed an executive order in 2017 directing the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency to start collecting that money. But a coalition of immigration lawyers and rights groups representing 7 targeted women living in churches called the fines illegal. ICE gave no specific reason why it decided not to try to collect the fines, but said the would-be immigrants are still in violation of the law and are still subject to deportation. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg spent most of Wednesday attempting to win over skeptical House lawmakers as he tries to launch Libra, a global digital currency. Conway G. Gittins of Reuters wraps up his testimony.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg on Wednesday walked in to testify before the House Financial Services Committee with the task of winning lawmakers over on the social network's plan to launch a global digital currency called Libra. Not surprisingly, Zuckerberg faced a skeptical crowd on both sides of the aisle. He was peppered with questions about the possibility of Libra being used for money laundering, terrorism, pornography, child sex exploitation, and other anonymous transactions. Also looming large over his testimony, the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where Facebook allowed customer data to be misused by the consulting firm in order to interfere with the 2016 U.S. presidential election.
That's Conway G. Gittins of Reuters. President Donald Trump spent a time in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Wednesday, affirming plans to pull the United States out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Trump touted surging U.S. natural gas and crude oil output and his efforts to roll back regulations on energy industries.
The Paris Accord would have been shutting down American producers with excessive regulatory restrictions like you would not believe, while allowing foreign producers to pollute with impunity.
Opponents of leaving the agreement say that it harms U.S. global leadership on the transition to a cleaner economy with technologies to boost wind and solar power, advanced batteries, and energy conservation. For more on these stories and the rest of the day's news, be sure to log on to our website, voanews.com. I'm David Byrd, VOA News.